and welcome to Achievement Hunting 101. I'm FuFuCuddilyPoof, and this is level 274. Joining me tonight is KooshMoose.
Hello. Am I on time? Am I here?
You are on time.
Oh,
I'm the
okay.
one that was late.
Ah.
I was very late tonight. And also joining us is not Big Al. He decided to take the week off, so we'll see how his FOMO is. Instead, we have Wild West 08. What's up, buddy?
What's up? Do you have a minute to talk about your Starship warranty service at all?
Oh. I had a feeling this was going to happen.
It had to. We had to get a Starfield reference in.
So how much time have you put into Starfield?
I put about 70 to 80 hours in. Got it all finished up and ready for the DLC whenever it comes in. But it was pretty funny. It was like 20 minutes in the game. Or no, sorry, about 20 hours into the game. I just take my ship to a random planet just to look at it, and I get stopped by this guy, and he's like, "Hey, can we talk about your warranty on your Starship?" I was like, "No way." Like, literally, like, how much real world stuff it was. It was just, I laughed, and my wife came out and she was like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "Look, look at this."
Apparently I'm buying a warranty.
So funny. Oh my god.
I did buy the warranty. I got the diamond package.
Oh, I gotcha.
What a sucker.
I know.
Oh, I gotcha.
When you're making,
You never buy the warranties.
when you're drowning in credits, you buy the warranty.
No, big spender over here.
So you're not going to be stocking up for the DLC? You're done playing? You're just going to wait?
I am going to go back. I've been wanting to go back because there's some other missions I want to do, and I haven't played a lot in New Game Plus. I just kind of kept everything on my first playthrough, enjoying it, but I had a lot of fun with it, and yeah, it was worth it, I think. But
Gotcha.
Have you completed the game, or are you just like at a done point?
I have completed. Well, I've completed the game. I've gone to New Game Plus, and I've also gotten the 1,000 G. Achievements wise, yeah, I've gotten 1,000 G too.
Nice. That's what counts.
It was
Did you
pretty.
build any fancy starships? Did you build like the Millennium Falcon?
Oh, that's why I want to go back. I want to build the Falcon
Bezos
or something.
How far have you gotten into it, Nate?
About an hour.
All on the character creation.
No, I spent very little time on character creation. I got off the planet. I did a little bit of flying, so I guess I got off the planet. And because I was like, oh, I need to go get this suit because apparently this suit's awesome, and you can steal it through this case. So like, I'm totally going to do that. So I did that, and then I was like, oh, and now I'm supposed to go get the Mantis ship, and I was like, I need to do something else. So I bounced off it pretty quickly. I will probably... Nah, I'm never going back. Realistically,
if you haven't gone back yet, you ain't going back.
Realistically, I'm probably not going back to it anytime soon. And if I am, not for the completion.
You'll go back in 10 years when it's getting ready to get off Game Pass for some crazy reason.
Exactly. When the fifth version of it's been released. Yeah, maybe.
I don't think that's going to happen with Starfield.
No.
I could see 5 more releases for Skyrim before
re-release of
Starfield.
Not going to Skyrimize it?
Nah.
The toaster version? They're not going to have the toaster version of Starfield?
I'd be surprised. I could see Starfield re-release in like 2028 when there's like Xbox Next, whatever the crap they're going to call it.
Yeah.
See, I'm still in the same place. I can't get back into it. Fast travel to game just can't do it. Like, it's still installed on my Xbox, and we were talking about this beforehand. It's still installed on my Xbox. I want to play it. I want to love it just because of how much I love like the Elder Scrolls, and I like sci-fi. There's so many boxes that are ticked for this, but it's like, just, I don't know. I think I'm going to wait a couple of months until there's more like quality of life improvements, and then I'll try to really play it. But as of right now, I'm kind of done.
Yeah, it's by no means. I gave it a 4.5. It's not a perfect game. There's still stuff that needs to be improved, and stuff that I was kind of sad that in today's RPGs are not in there right at the beginning. Like you said, fast travel, local maps, stuff like that. That just, it should be available right away. But
yeah,
or eating
I
food.
My biggest.
I don't see you playing No Man's Sky Wild West. Why haven't you?
Really?
I haven't done.
I'd like to see compare and contrast I'm not saying it's the same level. I'm not saying it's the same level before people get out their stones and their angry letters.
It's very similar, though.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like the Doom, right? It's Quake and Doom. So what I would like to know, someone who enjoys like Bethesda and Starfield, especially Starfield, like how does No Man's Sky compare to that? Especially with all the work they put into it since what's that, the 2018 release. So they've been hammering away on this thing for 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
5+. Yeah, 5+.
I hear No Man's Sky now is incredible. It's a great game. Like, it's definitely at the place where this is what they envisioned the game was supposed to be. It just shipped as a dumpster fire.
This is what they sold everyone on.
Yeah.
And they finally delivered on the promise.
And at least to their credit, No Man's Sky has done like one free update after another.
Yeah, no paid.
Don't think it has any DLC. I think it's all been.
No DLC, no extra payment.
That's what I thought.
It's been in Game Pass for a while.
I think it's had like some kind of, not like DLC traditionally, but it's had updates to like add stuff, but not like paid.
Yeah.
Not paid,
and no achievements tied to it.
No achievements,
nothing in a title update or anything. It's all
which is
wild. Base 1K, but then they've just been improving it. So, and adding more content. So,
which, I mean, good for them for doing that. That's nice, especially since you sold us a lie.
Yeah, so I'd like, but he did it with such a nice accent. I'd like to, I'd like to hear, your take on it if you were to play it. But if there's no interest, of course, won't happen. But
yeah, I'll have to look at doing that. I think I've got the rest of the year kind of mapped out, but I'll have to look at doing that in the future.
Yeah, what's one more game this year, right?
Yeah, my one more game is Alan Wake 2. You guys invited me on the podcast 1 week too early.
Oh.
Didn't even think about that.
We need some time to play it too, so.
I think he's going to make time for that.
If I don't get called in this weekend, I will be probably finishing the story by the end of the weekend.
Oh my gosh.
I doubt it's going to be that long of a story. Alan Wake 1 wasn't that long, so.
Yeah, it's true.
That's what we need right now.
It'll probably be like a 20 to 25 hour completion, I bet. And
that's what we need. I mean, there's so many games out right now. We need shorter,
cheaper,
cheaper single player games that are just quality from cover to cover. Right? Yeah. Stop dragging these things out to 60 to 80 hours. Make them 20, make them 30, but do them really nice. And, let us get on to the next thing because there's a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
That, like, quote unquote AA type game.
Yeah, I would call it like a AA 0.5 type game. It's not a full AAA game, but it's not like a AA. Like, I feel like No Man's Sky would be kind of like a AA game. But
that's fair.
Yeah.
I would say Alan Wake would be like not full AAA, like a Call of Duty, Forza, Halo type thing, but. If it took them this long to do the second game, but I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Alan Wake 2 comes out perfect time. Spooky game for spooky season. So
yep.
Which our topic of discussion for this week is.
There it is.
Have you been playing anything Halloween themed this month? Are there any other months or holidays that get you to play a themed game? And if so, what games? And I'll go ahead and start reading off some of the Patreon responses. First off being from, not a very spooky name. It's Pete Hartmus. She says, I played Signalis because it was leaving Game Pass. I mean, because it was super spooky. Also, Christmas is not a theme. It is a way of life.
But also playing? Did you really play it? Do we need to look at the game played time?
Do it. Call her out.
Might have to. All right, keep going.
Now.
I'm gonna look.
Let's see that game play time.
45 minutes.
After that, it's Kendall Height 5. He's going to change his name every single week from now on, apparently. Says, I played the Dark Picture series with Chewie, and I peed a little. Good to know.
2 hours, 16 minutes. 2 hours, 16 minutes. That's console.
Got it. So did you really play it? Did that really count? Chesno says, I haven't had much chance to play anything this month due to house maintenance. I feel that. And then he goes on to say, I do like theme months, but since there aren't that many options, I end up just making up my own, like anime, Lego month, etc. Wait, was he the one that started Lego month? I always thought it was Jables.
I always thought it was Lego.
Someone let us know, because now I'm not sure. I know it's every wait, now I don't know what it is. It's every July, right? Or is it June?
One of those.
I think it's July. Pretty sure it's July. It's like Lego month. Although at this point, after like 2 or 3 years of it, don't you guys have them all complete by now? Do we really need to keep doing Lego months?
There's a lot of studs to find.
Well, it's this weird thing too, where they keep coming out with new games.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all won't stop buying them.
Although they haven't come out with a lot, I think they kind of had a little oversaturation of Lego games.
Well, I mean, what's left? They've gotten every IP so far.
Yeah.
What else are they gonna do?
Barbie. We haven't had the Barbie movie.
Well, if you do Barbie, you got to do Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Do a mix of the two of them.
Sell it as like a dual pack.
There you go.
That would be amazing.
You could sell that as a dual pack. Charge like $100.
100%, I would buy that.
I would buy that. I want just the physical copy just to have on my shelf just because it'd be incredible. I wouldn't even play this stupid game. I just want the case.
He's the Barbie character in the Oppenheimer game, and yeah.
Oh my god, could you imagine?
That would be pretty crazy.
That's the crossover of the year. And then next response I read is from Scarvese, who says no, mainly because I don't really do holidays anyway, but I do appreciate when games add seasonal content. Examples are Cozy Grove has a harvest festival where you can catch spooky bugs, Plants vs. Zombies, Battle for Neighborville, has balloons and other decorations around the hub world themed for the closest holiday, and Space Lines from the Far Out had the crates reskinned as Christmas presents. I do like when games get in the holiday spirit and do little things like that. Like I saw like Call of Duty has in Warzone, when you open up a chest, there might be a jump scare.
Oh, Fufu. You've got to get into Exoprimal because you can get your jack-o'-lantern head. All you have to do is play one match of the standard, and you get a jack-o'-lantern head for, like, I guess all of the original suits. Each one of the original suits gets the jack-o'-lantern head. So just one match. That's all it takes.
Good to know. I'll have to do that.
And they're doing the same thing for Christmas. So there'll be Santa hats.
Oh, I gotta have that. Well, I'll have to have that so when we're doing a Discord-wide boost because the game is
dead,
dead, and the servers are going offline, I'll have a jack-o'-lantern head. But as for myself, I don't really go out of my way to try to play something spooky. Like, if I had more time, like, who was it? It was Chesno was talking about house maintenance. I've been very much in that mood this past, like, 4 or 6 weeks where I've been doing a lot of housework, so I haven't just had the time. But, like, I wanted to try to stream some spooky games. Like, last year I streamed, what's it called? Slender, The Arrival, or whatever the heck it is. And I think I streamed something else. The year before that, I think I did a little bit of, like, Layers of Fear. So I usually try to do that, but outside of that, nah, I don't really play too many spooky games as is. I like a good jump scare every now and then, but like I don't really do horror at all. Although I do kind of want to go see that Five Nights at Freddy's movie.
Yeah, that looks interesting.
It's coming straight to Paramount Plus, I'm sure. You don't have to wait very long. But
I think it's Peacock gets that one.
It's Peacock.
It's Peacock. That's like the one I don't have.
I was trying to drag on them. I was not being serious, but okay.
I have it because a friend has it.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Right.
You're not wrong. It's going to go straight. straight to some streaming service. But either way, going to see in the theater it makes it better. I like going to the movies, especially on Tuesday night. Get that matinee prices.
You're going to see the Marvels. They need the help, apparently.
I only have time for one bad movie. Well, Wes, why don't you go next?
All right, doing my best L impression since he's not here. J-Block.
Oh boy.
Says cat. J-Block cat. I forgot that. The only time I actually focus on themed games is if there's a contest that requires me to. New Year's Eve usually has a focus on party games as a bunch of us get together in an Xbox party to play games like Among Us and the like.
Oh,
I'm kind of the same game. I like doing the
together to play
TA
Among
games.
Us.
Oh, yeah. And the like is code for Sea of Thieves, just so you know.
Party animals.
Oh, there you go. You could make that your new game for New Year's. Full gore Latin. No, but I keep the spirit of Halloween active all year round. It's a lifestyle. Okay.
Fair.
Probably wears his Jason mask. I think that's what he said he got on one of his movies podcasts. MDP 73. There's this little trick or treat event on TA that's kind of Halloween themed.
Never heard of it.
Good to know.
That's part of my answer, so I'll save that for the end.
Let's just give him. Hold on. Let's just give him a little bit of notice and appreciation for not doing the obvious. So thank you.
Don't say it. Don't say it. If you say it too many times, you're going to will it into existence.
Thank you for your on-task answer.
I need to just start overlaying Rocket League music every time we read his
answer. There goes the podcast.
You did it. You said the words.
All right, Wasteland Ogre Joe. I like to play some games in my backlog with Dead in the title for Dead-Cember each year. Looking to get through the Telltale's The Walking Dead finally this year, as I'm a huge fan of the original comics and have been reading the Clementine graphic novels that, spoiler alert, continue her story recently. Unspoiler alert. Also, I plan to finish Signalis for Spooky Month.
Apparently that's a spoiler.
I don't know if people had finished the games, and I didn't know. I haven't finished the games, so I don't really know what happens at the end of it. So I'm on the last game.
Oh, Clementine.
I knew nothing about The Walking Dead.
You said Clementine. I was thinking Coraline.
Oh, that movie?
Very different.
Yeah, well, I haven't played enough of The Walking Dead, apparently.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not Tim Burton.
Have that burned into my brain.
I don't know anything about The Walking Dead. I know it's not Tim Burton.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Nightmare Before Christmas, or the other one he did, The Corpse's Bride, I think it was.
Yeah, Corpse Bride, Nightmare Before Christmas, yeah.
I think he produced
Did
that.
he not do Coraline?
No, Coraline was some stop motion company.
That was a stop motion. It was there's one or two guys that do a lot of the stop motion, kind of not I would say creepy, but kind of children's
horror. I don't know
horror,
them by name,
maybe.
But I love their work, yeah.
Yeah, I always enjoy. My wife and I love watching those movies. They're always really well done.
Frankenweenie.
Frankenweenie,
yeah.
Yep.
And Coraline, yep.
There's a couple more in there. So
9.
Yeah, my answer was I mean, I don't usually do a lot of holiday themed stuff, other than when I was going for some of the Batman Calendar Man achievements. I would do that. That was one of the ones that popped in my head. But I've been enjoying the Trick or Treat event on TA, so I've been going through some of those treats and tricks and everything, and having fun with that this month, and kind of switching back and forth between different games. But I'm not a big horror fan, so I don't really do a lot of Halloween jump scare horror stuff. But I do enjoy the TA events, especially the holiday ones. I think the Christmas one's my favorite. And then I've been enjoying the Trick or Treat one, kind of just getting the random games and achievements in there. So that's kind of what I like to do.
The Christmas one, the 12 Days of Christmas, is everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I think it was last year or the year before I finished first on the last day. Maybe 2 years ago. But I enjoy it. It's always my favorite one. But yeah, that's my answer. So on to Nate.
Yeah, I really liked the Trick or Treat this year. I thought this was a great event. Even though I kind of bounced off it once I got my badge, I still think it's great. I mean, just leaving that open for the whole month for people to just kind of go crazy with is awesome. And of course, 12 days. Amazing. So Spooky says, also known as Chewie, in previous years, we hosted a spooky games themed contest. This is a long one, by the way, so I'm only going to read one. Across the Discord, and even though that's not running this year, I still made the Adventure Time contest monthly bonus horror themed because I'm a horror guy and it's my contest. People usually associate horror with survival horror, but actually loads of adventure games have horror themes, particularly walking sims. This month, I played a bunch, including Blood Wash, I Dream of You, and Ice Cream, and the Sorrow Virus. Okay.
They're real games.
I need some commas in there because I Dream of You and Ice Cream and the Sorrow Virus, I don't know if that's one game or multiple. The highlight, though, was Killer Frequency, which is an amazing walking sim type game where you play as the radio DJ taking calls from people who are being stalked by a serial killer. You have to talk them through their escape. Each caller can live or die depending on what you do. I had no idea this thing existed. And yeah, I did 3 of the Dark Pictures games in co-op with Kendall Height 5. Also known as Mental Night 5, which was a fun experience, and they are cool games, but they have terrible achievement lists with an obnoxious amount of playthroughs needed to complete them. As for other holidays, nothing speaks to me like spooky season. Sorry for the wall of text. The question speaks to me. Wow. I didn't realize he was such a horror guy. I mean, I knew he liked it, but I am definitely not a horror guy. I wouldn't say
probably the worst panel for people to be on the panel to talk about horror stuff. None of us are into it.
I mean, so when I was growing up, I watched a lot of horror movies with friends. You know, we just get stuff from Blockbuster and we would watch those. But by myself, no. And ever since like high school, not really. So that was just like a phase of my life, and I kind of grew out of that for me. Not to say it's childish or anything, but yeah, it just wasn't. You know, after that phase, I was kind of done with it. As for themed games, a little while ago, I tried Pumpkin Jack, and oh man, so that was a couple of years ago. I played Pumpkin Jack because, hey, you know, it's Halloween, so let's do this. And that was kind of a regret. The game was a little bit buggy and basic.
I remember this game. I remember talking about this.
But then a great game I played and have been kind of dipping my toes into every year, not counting this year, are the Costume Quest games. Even though, there's a stack for Costume Quest and there's Costume Quest 2. I haven't played Costume Quest 2 yet. I beat the first Costume Quest, I think, on the 360. And so I've just kind of been saving those to go back into. Those are great games. I love them. But yeah, as far as themed, I don't think there's that many Christmas themed games until this year. All of a sudden we have like 2. I mean, we've got Ebenezer Scrooge Metroidvania game. So absolutely.
Wait,
oh my gosh, you have not been following. You have not been paying attention. There's an Ebenezer Scrooge
Metroidvania out of the loop lately. It's been crazy.
I will be, obviously I'm going to play that. But then there's also a
Grinch game.
The Christmas?
Grinch. There's a Grinch game.
Yes, thank you. From Outright Games. So, not expecting the quality to be there, but it's an Outright Games Grinch game. So that's 2 this season. And hopefully those will come to Game Pass at some point because Game Pass loves their family-friendly content from Outright Games. So maybe we'll see those at some point. I've gone on long enough, but those are the only 2 holidays I can think of to get a lot of traction in terms of like theming. But yeah, I love themes. I love when all the contests we used to do, we'd make up our own themes like 2020 Tomb Raider to go all year. I think we had a 1 month one too. I can't remember what that was. June Raider or something like that.
Yeah.
I think we might have called it.
That sounds right.
But yeah, so I do like themes, but those are the only 2 holiday ones I can think of.
Well, speaking of Costume Quest, I saw that Double Fine did Costume Quest 2 at least. I think they did the first one. And now that Microsoft owns them, they need to get a 3rd game in there.
Oh, yeah. Let's give them some work.
Yes. Well, not that Double Fine's just not doing nothing, but still.
Yeah.
Xbox needs more game studios. Pump out more of these IPs.
Yeah.
Especially now with ABK.
Well, they got some good ones in that acquisition, so hopefully they'll produce some good stuff for Microsoft here in the future.
Sort of Crash. Yeah.
Some super strong first-party games is what we need.
Yeah. I know Toys for Bob does a lot of good stuff that people like for remakes and stuff, so...
Oh my god, they're the best.
So hopefully they'll get something going there and get that good stuff for Game Pass.
All right. I think that's a good stopping point for that. Unless anybody has anything else they want to add. So in which case, let's go into the game showcase, talk about what we've been playing. Nate, what game have you been playing that you want to talk about?
I want to talk about a new game to Game Pass as of October 12th. So I've had about 12 days to play this. It is called From Space. And this is a shoot 'em up, 4-person co-op online. I don't believe they have local co-op. I could be totally wrong. But
No,
I'm
you
never
actually
going to play it.
co-op?
I'm never going to play local co-op with 4 people. It's just that part of my life is over. So that will not happen. So it doesn't even matter. But I do know that there's online co-op. This game, it plays a lot like Tiny Troopers. It feels a lot like Tiny Troopers, but the developer is not the same. It's not them at all. This game has 2 different modes. It has your traditional story mode, which like I said, supports the online co-op. But you can play it single player with no problems. I put a couple hours into the game and I made a lot of progress. The menu system's a little clunky when you go in there to kind of start. And it's very easy to accidentally start a new game as opposed to continuing your previous game. And if that happens, don't freak out. Your game is still there. You just have to go load it. So when you're starting it, and you're continuing, make sure you choose that continue option. And if you accidentally start a new game, don't worry. You haven't wiped out your save. Just go to load and just take off from there. Then delete all those crappy new games you've started. You have a whole bunch of different specialists. You pick one to start with, and then your leveling kind of carries across to any of them. So you can start off as like an assault specialist, and then switch over to a defensive specialist or like a healer, and your levels will carry across. So you don't have to keep leveling up each different specialist. You just have like your main level goes through. And what's going to happen as you level up is that you'll get access to your specialist specific weapon. So if you're the assault person, let's say you'll just get like this really cool, like, sawed-off shotgun. If you're defense, you'll get like a chain gun or something that you can use, but that you wouldn't be able to find in the level otherwise. It's particular to your character, and it doesn't take up a gun slot. So you definitely want to level up to get access to those. But you also have special perks per specialist as well, things that could help group, things that could help just you. So you're going to want to do that. And there are achievements tied to getting to certain levels. I think there's 5, 10, 20, 30, something like that. So you'll need to do that as you're going along. You're going to find weapons as you're playing the game. I would recommend not buying weapons because you're just going to find them scattered around the level. And just carry them over, dump them in your inventory back at bases. That way, if you really want to get those weapons, you can get them out and you can spend your money upgrading them as opposed to just buying them and then upgrading. You can save a little bit of money that way. You're going to be able to switch through between weapons that you have, and certain enemies take more damage from different ammo types. So like a shotgun has a different ammo type than like a laser gun versus a grenade launcher. So I'll use 3 different types of ammo. And make sure that you have a spread of weapons so that you're not all using the same ammo between them. Otherwise, you're going to run out of ammo a lot faster. You're going to get missions. As you're playing this game, you'll talk to quest givers. They'll tell you to go do this thing, like, go press this button over here, which do you do, or go kill this thing, and you go do that, and you kind of uncover the fog of map as you're going, or the fog of war on the map as you go. A lot of times you'll find doors that you couldn't get through on the way there that you can now open up to make the way back faster or return trips faster. So you're going to want to keep an eye out for that as you go. And that's pretty much my experience with the story mode. I have not played it co-op, but like I said, it plays a lot. Excuse me, it plays a lot like like Tiny Troopers. So if you like that, and I do, it feels a lot like that. Then it comes to the Horde mode. And the Horde mode is different. It carries its own progression system. And it does this weird thing where when you get to level 5 with a character, you can promote them. But then it just resets. You get no real benefit from it, I think. It's just kind of like,
That's odd.
It just adds like a title to them or something. But nothing, no performance benefits or anything. You need to do that 26 times across any of the characters to get an achievement. You get you get an achievement for the very first one that you promote. And you can keep leveling these characters after level 5, apparently. But that's just going to waste a promotion. So every time you get a character level 5, promote, and then just keep going if you're focused on the achievements. As you level them up, that's what you're doing towards that one achievement. But you'll also be accomplishing goals that will unlock new characters. And every character is specific, has a certain characteristics about them. Like the initial characters can only have one gun. Or very limited number of guns, very limited number of special things, and maybe one perk. As you get further in, you open up more levels, you do more challenges, you're going to unlock better characters that could have 2 guns, 3 guns, 2 abilities, 3 abilities. So you're going to want to switch to those when you can, because a lot of times you'll find monsters in the horde mode that only take damage to the red ammo type. But your favorite gun's a blue gun. So if you try to kill a red ammo type enemy with a blue gun, it's going to take a lot longer. It's going to use up all your ammo. So you're going to want to carry at least 2 weapons as you go through this more and more. This is where you can bring in more people, and I think it's going to make it a lot easier. There's an achievement for beating a horde mode level on the highest difficulty and doing all the challenges. Now, beating it on the highest difficulty is not that bad. You can actually do that solo. But being able to complete the challenges is very difficult, because a lot of times the challenge is hold this switch for 20 seconds. Well, when you're the only person in a hard mode horde map, you're going to get interrupted a ton by all the bad guys. So at that point, I think you kind of need 4 people in there to kind of spread the aggro around while one person holds the switch or does this particular task. I think that's only going to be possible in a group of at least 2 people, probably a full group would get that done. You're going to be able to buy and research weapons, get better weapons, upgrade them with all the currencies that you're getting from doing these things. And I think it's fun. I don't think it's amazing, but I do think it is a fun switch for if you have like a weekly group or something and you're just looking to change it up. I think From Space would actually be kind of fun for a very short period of time. And I don't think it would take that long to grind through. So overall, I think From Space is a nice little break game. It's not going to be your brand new thing that you're going to be playing forever, but it is a good little diversion.
It looks fun. I actually downloaded it. I haven't had a chance to properly play it yet, but it looks fun. I see that there's a whole bunch of achievements for different missions and stuff like that. Is there like chapter select in case?
No.
In case you miss one or something like that. It doesn't look like you necessarily need it. It doesn't look like there's like a specific achievement tied to each one or anything like that.
Yeah, it's basically just one really big map, and you'll unlock areas of the map just by completing challenges and or completing tasks and missions, and those missions then will unlock the next area of the map, and you can go to that. So when you're done, I think you're just gonna be able to go anywhere on this really big map. But initially, you're kind of gated because you haven't done the mission you need to do. So no chapter select. So if you're jumping into somebody else's game, yeah, you might only get like the progression from the end and miss the progression at the beginning. So you probably want to do this from the start in a group, or everybody do it solo and then just group up for the really tough stuff if there is tough stuff towards the end. I found that as I was playing, I just kind of got a little bit bored of the combat. I had kind of maxed out my guns kind of pretty early, and just the combat just challenge wasn't really there. I think that they ramp up the difficulty just by throwing more monsters at you. I think at some point you might need 4 players to complete it. But like I said,
it just kind of
it's a fun little diversion.
Enemies come, you have to shoot them. No real like this enemy.
Yeah, they're just kind of swarming you.
X strategy.
No, they swarm you. They have like different attack patterns for sure. Some of them have immunity to like red ammo, so you have to use blue ammo. That's why you want to carry a variety of ammo weapons, also so that you don't run out of ammo. But when you're trying to fight different things, you want to use different ammo against them so that you don't waste a whole bunch of shots. But Yeah. It's a fun little game.
It looks like a good Game Pass game.
And how long have you played it so far? And is there a completion time estimate, you think?
TA says I put in 6 hours. Nobody has completed it yet.
Okay.
That's scary.
Kind of surprising.
That's good.
22,000 starters.
2,000.
22,000 starters.
Or 22,000.
Yeah, the guy that's gone the farthest just hasn't done the multiplayer. Looks like most of these people that have gotten really far in haven't done the multiplayer. Or maybe there's a new multiplayer bit that hasn't come out yet. Maybe that's the problem.
That would do it.
That might be it, yeah. So let's see. So the guy that has the most progress in the game, and I think was the first one there, spent 27 hours.
It looks like there's an unknown pack, maybe some sort of title update that no one has done yet.
Yeah,
because all these still locked zero-track gamers. One of which being defeat endlessly wave level 100. So
yeah, so it's got like a horde type thing.
Yeah, see, I thought that was just part of the horde, but maybe there's an extra game mode that hasn't been unlocked yet.
Well, that would explain it of why there's no one there.
Yeah, but at least there's no unobtainables. It's just content that hasn't been activated yet.
Right.
So in the forum, it said that someone asked on their Discord, and they said that the extra achievements were added by mistake, and so they were going to try to get them removed.
Okay.
So it might be a future thing.
Exactly. It might be a paid DLC later, or hopefully a free DLC. But yeah.
Man, who flipped that switch by mistake?
Oopsies.
Probably someone that's not working anymore. No.
What a mistake to have. Well, now I wonder if they'll unlock retroactively.
I don't know. But that's from space for you.
All right. Yeah. Neat little game.
Yeah.
I would definitely like my Thursday night group to try it out, because I think it looks like it's more fun in multiplayer. Not that
I'm sure
find
it
out.
is. I'm sure it is, because just imagine running around the map and then someone getting lost and you have to yell at them and tell them where to go. That's your group,
Mobile
right?
Thursday group.
Yeah, there you go.
Absolutely no difference. All right. Well, in that case, Wallace, what game would you like to talk about?
Yeah. So from the question that we were talking about, I was kind of been jumping around from different games doing the Trick or Treat event for TA, but one of the games that I've kind of been playing along with that is Gotham Knights. Now this game it's interesting. I was talking with the guys beforehand. I'm a little bit disappointed in it so far. I've completed the story. I'm about halfway through on achievements, maybe a little bit more than halfway. But this came out last October, so it came out about a year ago. When the first trailer came out for it and watched it, I was like, "Oh, this looks intriguing." I'm a big Batman Arkham Asylum fan. This is not by Rocksteady. This is not by Rocksteady at all. This is by WB Games Montreal, I believe. And so when it came out, it looked interesting. I was like, okay, it's a nice premise. The story, which I'll get into a little bit later, talks about the Court of Owls, which is one of my favorites. I've enjoyed that Batman series quite a bit, talking about it. And so I was really looking forward to it. The review, it released, the reviews came out, and it was very, very middling. If I remember right, on Metacritic, it was like 50s, maybe low 60s. Very middling reviews. A lot of people didn't like that they locked in at 30 frames per second, especially releasing on the Series X and PlayStation 5 and all those ones. A lot of people felt they could have pushed it to the 60, and so it didn't have great reviews, and so my interest in the game kind of faded as, after reading that stuff and seeing some gameplay video and everything on it, I was just, okay, maybe it's not something that I want to do. And then, it came out as a surprise Game Pass release, and when it came out, I didn't really know much about the game. I didn't follow it much after it came out, but I had a friend who said, hey, there's some co-op stuff in there that makes it a lot easier to do if you do it in co-op. So would you be interested? And at first I was like, nah, I'm not really interested in it. But eventually, I was like, okay, I just finished Cyberpunk. I think it was the last one. And I had to, knew that Alan Wake was going to be coming out a little bit later. So I was like, I can fit it in. So I started playing it, and I was kind of disappointed in it so far. It just doesn't feel like Gotham to me. They do have the traditional landmarks, but they also skip over a lot of landmarks as well, and just kind of replace them by kind of nameless corporations that I guess I'd have to kind of search for, because I didn't recognize them at all. Like instead of Ace Chemicals, there was another I can't remember the name, but there was another chemical place, and I was like, Ace Chemicals is, a landmark in the Batman series. You shouldn't be just kind of glossing over that. But anyway, so there's just a lot of things bug me. The story is Batman has died, and the opening cutscene kind of shows what happened to him and everything. And so it's up to Robin, who is played by Tim Drake, and then you got Nightwing, and then you've got the Red Mask, was one of the older versions of Robin, for those who know a little bit of the history of Batman. So you've got those and Batgirl. So those are your four, and Alfred joins you along the way. You kind of get your own version of the Batcave, and you start kind of working your way through the mystery of the Court of Owls as you're patrolling the city and picking up clues. It starts with the murder of somebody, and then as you kind of work your way through it, you kind of see what is happening with Gotham. I enjoyed the detective aspect of it. I'm glad they kind of kept that in there. I've always enjoyed that a lot of the Batman games, that they had that in there. The gameplay I felt is just it's very choppy to me. It's not, I felt like even in the original Batman Arkham Asylum game, the combat was very smooth. It was just kind of like, as you were kind of working your way, especially along those challenge maps, you're working your way from enemy to enemy and doing your moves and everything and finishing those maps, or just in the actual story game, the combat felt smooth. And then also in City and the rest of the games as well. But this one is there's just so many times where I'm trying to hit and dodge and then move over to the next enemy, and then not that there's a combo anyways, you don't get like power ups or anything, but just as you're trying to move, it's just you'll just kind of punch the air, and then you're like, okay, well, you broke your combo and you got to move over and keep going. And so it's just the combat's a little choppy to me. You do get your bat cycle, bat motorcycle. Driving it around is not great either. I mostly just kind of zip line around the map. It's a lot faster, in my opinion, than trying to go around and getting hit by cars and different invisible barriers in the map that stop the game. So overall, I was very disappointed in it. It's kind of like a 2 to 2.5 rating for me. It's just very middling and very meh, where I thought they had the chance to do something fun with the storyline of not just continuing on from Batman, but doing something else. I haven't gotten into, there's 2 updates that I believe are free. I haven't paid for them, so I guess they're free. And they're kind of like those challenge maps from the Arkham Asylum games. I've only briefly played one of them. And so it's kind of like a similar idea to it, where you have 30 levels that you got to work through, and then after you finish the level, you'll go on to the next one, and I believe it saves your progress in between each level, so you don't have to do all 30 of them at the same time, but it does add some extra hours onto the game at the end. There's different collectibles throughout the game that you'll find. Some of them are pretty cool. One of the ones I did enjoy was that you kind of have to protect the identity of Batman. So each time you're out patrolling the city, there's a little side quest you can do to protect the identity of Batman. So I enjoyed that one. But then other stuff, I just finished one today where you had to go around the city and find little papers, and some of the stuff and trying to find it is just very hidden, and it's hard to get in the right spot to find it, and it just wasn't, I just believe it wasn't very coded very well or tested very well in that. And so overall, just kind of a meh game, and a little disappointed with it. But that was, yeah, I mean, that's Gotham Knights. I don't know. Do you guys have any desire to play that game, I guess I should say?
Yeah, I started it, and I like my tie-ins, number one.
Yeah.
And I like the combat in the Batman games. So, yeah, the first thing I noticed is that it did not have the same combat, and it didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That they would take that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that to me is like, if this is going to be continuing that story, I kind of want that. And it really bums me out that the Arkham kind of DNA is gone, because, you look at, Justice League kills, or I'm sorry, Suicide Squad kills the Justice League. They've turned that thing into a shooter. And
well, like a looter shooter. Yeah.
Yeah. Looter shooter. So the Batman combat, the Arkham combat is gone. It just doesn't exist, which is sad. It's going to be years before we see it again, if we do. And that makes me sad. So I haven't gotten too far into Gotham Knights. I was enjoying kind of the puzzle solving and the investigations. So I am looking forward to it. I have low expectations. And the hope is that I can kind of keep my expectations low and not get bummed out as I'm going through. But I think going in with those low expectations, not expecting it to be Arkham, is a great way to start it, if you're still going to do it.
Yeah, you definitely have to go in saying this is its own game. It has nothing to do with it. It doesn't even. It's a different voice for Batman. It's a different character representation of Batman. It has nothing to do with the Rocksteady games at all. This is just its own separate thing that was its own game, and I think they should have played on that a little bit more instead of just. I feel like the when the trailers came out and everything, it kind of felt like it was continuing on the story from that a little bit, and I think they should have kind of pushed it away a little bit more and done its own thing. But it just, even when it was trying to do its own thing, which is fine, having those different characters, and you can swap between the characters as you want to, it just didn't do it very well, in my opinion. So like I said, you can play as Robin, you can play as the Nightwing, Batgirl, or the Red Mask. I think it is Red Mask, and you can switch between them. When you level up one, they level up all of them, so you don't have to level up each individual one. You get points that you can add into your character tree as you upgrade. You can upgrade your suit, your melee weapon, your ranged weapon, which is just different versions of the Batarang and different. Nightwing has his. I don't know exactly what they're called. There's his sticks, whatever there are. But so you have that. But I don't know. I guess I enjoyed Batman without having to worry about all that stuff, and then they started bringing in this stuff in this game, and then like you brought up with Suicide Squad in the future, it's supposed to be even more leaning into the character, or the the weapons and all that different stuff, more of that. And I don't know if people really are gonna take on to that, but
yeah, I thought the costumes were pretty cool too. I just looked at those a little bit, just kind of like checking out all the different looks you could have. I started off as Batgirl, and I didn't try any of the other characters in my just quick dive. So I thought it was really cool, all the different outfits they had. Yeah. With bringing that up, I played about 95% of my time as Batgirl. I played a few missions. I think I played one mission as Robin, and played Nightwing. Just going around Gotham and playing Nightwing a little bit, but most of my time was with Batgirl. You can do your mission. You can go around Gotham and fight crime. There's an achievement for preventing or stopping 250 crimes. So you can just go around, and as you go around, you'll see it on your map with your augmented reality glasses that you have in there. You can hit the down on the D-pad, and it'll bring up stuff that's around you. So you go in there and you can just go around the whole of Gotham and stop all these crimes, and then you go back to your base and it kind of resets it, and you can continue on the story, or you can continue on playing with crime and all that stuff. So there's a lot of different things that you can do. You don't have to just do the story if you don't want to. But the story is about, I think,
probably about 7 or 8 hours, I would say. There's only 8 missions, and I think they're probably like 30-ish minutes long, so maybe even less if you really rush through it without looking at cutscenes or anything. So it's not a long story, and I think it kind of does it a disservice. I think it should have been more fleshed out, a little bit longer, and played more into the Court of Owls stuff a little bit more. But I was disappointed in it for sure, but I'll finish it up and be ready for Alan Wake this weekend.
Well, if it's only like 30 minutes per mission, then how does like the estimated time be like 52 to 66? Like, what's the rest of that? Is it just grinding?
Yeah, so they're let's see what they have on TA. So base game, it says 40 to 50. I would say that's probably correct. According to TA, I have 27 hours in right now. And I started that on October 7th, so it's about 2.5 weeks, just kind of playing it. So the longest one is the 250 crimes that I mentioned. It can take that alone, if you just went for that, with probably 5 or 6 hours, because you can go in, there's premeditated crimes, which are a little bit more enemies in that area, where you can stop enemies before they even go out to do a crime. You can stop enemies like a bank robberies and stuff like that. Different, gun deals, stuff like that. You can go to the area on the map, which that will show up. The bigger crimes show up on your map, no matter where you are on the map. The smaller stuff will only show up if you're close to it. And so there's doing 250 of those by itself. There's, I think, let me see. Okay. So I think there's 4 or 5 different collectibles, and doing each of those collectibles is going to add an hour. Probably, I think I just did one of them today, and it took me about 45 minutes to do all of them from zero. So, I mean, that's 5 hours alone just trying to get all the collectibles. So, I mean, each of the collectibles, the story, you have to do some stuff with defeating certain types of enemies. So I think it's probably a little bit shorter now, because the horde mode or the horde-ish mode type thing that I was explaining with the new updates, the kind of free DLC they've dropped in it, that adds that helps you with certain enemies that you would have to otherwise it would take a long time to find in the real world for the map. So, for example, one I did was the one I did today, or I guess the one I need to still do is, where is it at? Oh, I have to defeat 30 of these certain enemies. Well, you could go to different areas on the map and try to find them, but they might not always be there. So then you have to go around the map, try to find them, and if they're not there, then you have to go back to your Batcave type thing. It's called the Belfry. So you have to go back to the Belfry, reset the map, and go back out and hope you find it. So trying to find all those different things by itself would probably add into that 40 to 50 hour estimate. But now, if you do that horde type mode, that's part of the extra content, certain waves have those enemies. So once you pass that wave and you can replay it, you can just keep replaying it over and over until you get those enemies and pop those achievements. Nice. So it can be done a little bit faster now. But I think 40 to 50 hours is fine. It probably should have slotted in at the 20 to 30 hours. I think would have been better instead of trying to push all this extra stuff out. But
don't try so hard, guys.
Yeah, not too bad. But I mean, that's Gotham Knights. I've enjoyed it a little bit, but I mean, if it's on Game Pass, so I mean, it'll probably be on Game Pass for a year, and you can get your time with it if you want it. But if it's anything more than $15-$20, I would not recommend it at all.
Gotcha. All right, well, thanks for that, Gotham Knights. We have a little issue with Fufu, so he will not be joining us for the rest of the episode, and we'll just carry on without him. We're going to move right into sales, where I'm going to talk about only 2 games. It's shocker. Knights and Guns is $6 down from $10. This is labeled as run and gun, but it really should be a genre that doesn't exist. I know I love these genres that don't exist. It's a Pang-like. Now, if you don't know what Pang is, it's based on the game called Pang, and you basically just
Shocking.
run along the bottom of the screen. Shocker, I know. And you shoot straight up, and you can only shoot like one thing at a time. And if it hits something, then you can shoot again. But like until it hits something, you can't shoot again. That was the original Pang, I believe. I didn't play it. I've played games that are Pang-likes. I've played Spheroids and Max and the Book of Chaos, and my favorite, The Bug Butcher, is a fantastic game, and that's what made me want to check out Knights and Guns. And from what I have played of it, it is a simple, albeit lots of achievements to it, Pang-like, and I'm having a good time with it. And if you played any Pang-likes, then check it out, and you like it, check it out. And definitely check out The Bug Butcher when that goes on sale. Put a tracker on that one, because that game's awesome. It's a little bit more challenging, but it might get you into this game type. And then lastly, Death's Door, $8 down from $20. This is action adventure. I loved this game. I think it was my game of the year when it came out. I played it twice, and I just absolutely love this game. It's like playing Zelda for the first time. Just the exploration, the combat, the challenge, the secrets. The game is fantastic. I talk about it on level 157. I'm pretty sure I gush. So if you, for some reason, want to hear that, you can go check it out there. But otherwise, just buy it. It's a fantastic game. Fufu says, Far Cry 4 on Xbox 360. I guess it's a lot like Doom. What about you, Wild West? What do you have?
I can recommend Far Cry 4. It was good. I think I did it on the 360 too. I can't remember if it was the 360 or the one. So I'm going to continue the Far Cry trend, and I'm going to recommend the Far Cry 5 Gold Edition. That's $13.49, down from $89.99. Still can't believe they have it for that price in general, but anyways, the $13.49 is the lowest price yet, and that includes all the DLC and spoiler, or not really spoiler, I guess I should say, but a tip. If you do pick it up, you do get a laser gun, an alien laser gun that pretty much one-hits everything on the easy and normal difficulty. So you can just pick that up.
Does that kill the fun? Does that kill the fun?
I had a lot of fun just one-hitting everyone, to be honest with you. Just taking all the cult members was just a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, I did both. I kind of switched between them. I didn't exclusively just use it and run through it. I tried the different kind of guns out to see what they are, but it makes things easier on that. And then I wanted to do a Halloween themed game, and so I chose Gnome Garden 5. It's $1.99 down from $4.99. If you know the 8-floor games, you kind of know what they do. They're kind of pseudo-management games. They're not like full, like Jurassic World evolution type ones or other things like that. But they're little fun games. They're 68 hours, most of them are, and they're pretty easy to complete. Some of them have cheats, some of them have easy modes, some of them have other stuff that you can do if you want, but I enjoy them. They stopped making them for a little bit, and then they just released a bunch of them I saw, so I'm going to hop on those new ones. And the other one, the last one I wanted to recommend was Lego Jurassic World. It's $4.99 down from $19.99, which is the lowest price it's been, and that's one of my favorite Lego games. I enjoy the Lego Jurassic World. I like the Jurassic Park movie a lot, and so playing all those different levels was a lot of fun.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'll help you with your Lego month. Moving on, we have our Game Pass segment, which seems a little bit light, but tomorrow, and at time of recording, this is Tuesday night. Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern, there's going to be a showcase. Hoping for some sort of news there, because we are so light in Game Pass. Maybe we'll get some Game Pass news. And we're at the end of the month. The timing is kind of right for that, but I tend to get my hopes up. So I don't know. Out right now, Dead Space for cloud, Xbox, and PC via EA Play. We just talked about this. It's a third-person shooter, action horror. Okay, I guess it's scary. It's
perfect for Halloween.
30 to 35 hours. Yeah, according to them. Next up, Frog Detective, The Entire Mystery is cloud and console. I played it on PC, and so I don't know if this is going to be a stack or if it's just going to share. It's an adventure collection game, 3 to 4 hours. I talk about it on level 225, and I had a fun game. It actually had me laughing out loud, which is kind of uncommon with games. There were just some really smart things. Next up, Mineko's Night Market. Steam says this is an adventure simulation. It looks really cool. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I'm really excited to try it. October 31st, we have Jusant, which is a climbing game. It's Annapurna, so you just can't go wrong. I mean, this is just everything I want. Pretty sure it was Annapurna.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah.
I don't see this. It's not listed there on TA right now, but yeah. And then Headbangers Rhythm Royale, where you play as pigeons. So L hates it because it's got pigeons. Fufu hates it because it's not really headbanging. It's a rhythm game. So yeah, it should go over really well with the panel.
Yeah.
Leaving Game Pass, October 31st, we have Gunfire Reborn. We've talked about this before. We have Kill It With Fire. That's a fantastic game. It's 4 to 5 hours with a walkthrough. Level 136 Rocker, level 197 Big L. Just go play that game. It's so much fun.
It is
Persona
a lot of
5
fun.
Royale, you have no time, but it's awesome.
Buy it.
Were you saying?
Oh, no, I was saying Kill It With Fire was awesome. I liked it.
Oh, yes.
Persona 5 Royale, just buy it. Just buy it. Support the dev.
It's too long. You have no time. If you're interested, just go get it on sale. Signalis, we talked about. Thank you, P-Tart. And yeah, there's a console. There's console commands that you can use to make it a lot shorter. I think I did it in like an hour and a half or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not too bad.
Super
If
Bob
you were to
has
do
a
it
walkthrough.
natural, I think he does have a walkthrough. Yeah, if you were to do it natural, it's 15 to 20 hours. But if you're not using walkthrough or any sort of console shenanigans. And last up, we have Solasta, Crown of the Magister, Cloud Console PC. It's RP, role-playing strategy turn-based, 120 to 160 hours. Yeah, you're not going to get that done. So you're going to end up buying it if that's what you want. And we are finally in Brag Camp. So I'm going to play the part of Fufu and Koosh. In completions, we have Enigma Gamer 77 with 550 games. We have Northern Lass with 950 games. We have MDP 73 with 1,000 games, and he is joined by Mike Pitch with 1,000 baby games. Dave Bodum has 1,050 games, and Sangrias has 3,100 games. In Streaks, Sniped by a Girl is currently on a 10-year achievement win streak. I normally do that at the end. My bad. Wild West 08. Well, 150 days. Are you doing this on purpose?
No, I'm just having fun right now.
There you go. That's the way to do it. Scouter Bay with 700 days. Ben L 72 with 950 days. Sniped by a Girl with that 10-year achievement is on 3,650. It's amazing how multiples of 10 work out.
Yep.
Big L with 3,950 days.
That's a lot of people recently, I feel like, that have gotten that 10-year win streak.
Yeah, what was in the water that day? Like, right?
I was like right 10 years ago. I feel like a lot of people just started and have kept going. But
Maybe
all right,
it was some sort of post. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, was there a contest or something 10 years ago? Anyway, gamer score. Sincere Seeker 6 with 550,000 gamer score. Kabo 73 with 650,000 gamer score. CJH Carter with 650,000 gamer score. El Sock with 800,000 gamer score. Retro Chief 1969 with 950,000 gamer score, marching on to that million. Mighty Mango with 1.9 million gamer score, and Sniped by a Girl with 2.4 million gamer score.
Wow. In leaderboards, I'm Big L now. You can tell my Big L voice. It is a high.
Oh, no.
So it's top 5 of the gamer score leaderboard for card and board. Ben L72 is now 3rd in the True Achievement leaderboard for Metroidvania. Awesome. Check out that channel if you have any interest in Metroidvanias. Buy571 is now top 50 in the Wisconsin Gamerscore leaderboard for Party. So that's where the party is. Icefire Tennessee, now in the top 20 of the Gamerscore leaderboard for Metroidvania as well. Lucas 1987, top 5. True Achievement leaderboard for Party, and number 1 in the Gamerscore leaderboard for Party. Scudder Bay is number 2 in the Pennsylvania Achievements 1 leaderboard for Simulation. And he's now in the top 200 of the Achievement 1 leaderboard for Simulation on TA.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You catch your breath there.
Yeah, seriously. So inconvenient that Fufu decided to take a nap. Wild West, you got anything you're looking forward to this week? Or
yeah, like I mentioned, I'm looking forward to Alan Wake 2. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited and hoping that it's good. I'm actually looking forward to having split playthroughs, knowing the end of what happened with Alan Wake 1 and then also what happened in Control. It makes sense to have a different person play for some of it, especially out there. So I'm excited for that.
Did you do any replays to kind of prep?
I did not. I finished last year. I finished the remastered one for Alan Wake, and then I also played Control at the beginning of the year. So I feel like I'm really good story wise with that, and just excited to see where they're at. And probably the next time I'm on, I'll do a review of that, and hopefully it'll be good.
You said you had already preloaded, so you're like
preloads tonight in 30 minutes. Preloads. So not that I'm counting or anything.
No, not
that I have about 100 notifications on my phone that says 11 p.m. my time. It comes out on Thursday night, but
a little bit of excitement.
A little bit. Hopefully it'll be good. Starfield took me about 10 minutes after it released to finally get in, but once I got in, I was able to play for a couple hours and had no issues, and I'm hoping the same for Alan Wake 2, so...
There's not supposed to be any online, right? It's just single player.
Straight single player. There's going to be... they did release something that said that they're going to be doing some free DLC, but there's also... I bought the deluxe version of the game for Alan Wake 2, and I think it was like $80 or something, but it says that there is going to be some DLC. I think there's 2 DLCs that's going to come out with it, so it's not going to be a standalone game, and Remedy has come out and said in the past that they're supposed to be working towards doing a Alan Wake Control game in the future. So I would love that. That'd be so much fun.
Okay, not bad. Well, awesome! I'm excited for you, and hopefully we'll have you on to tell us all about it, because you're kind of our expert there in the Remedy games. So,
well, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and
absolutely.
Hopefully Fufu will get over whatever he has bug wise.
Yeah. Hopefully he'll figure it out so he can start editing.
Yeah.
Because if his PC doesn't work, that's not going to be good. You can check us out on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, Patreon if you'd like to support the show or contests or any of the fun stuff that we do over here. Or you can check us out on YouTube. You'll see all of our podcasts are posted there, and also our live streams. And when we do stream games, we tend to push them out there to YouTube as well, because not everyone's up at the hours that we play those games. So once again, thank you. This is Achievement Hunting 101, and we will see you next time. Class is dismissed.
Bye.
Almost forgot the tag. Oh my gosh, we should write that.
Hello and welcome back to Neverending Stories, a nice, now I'd say fairly long-running segment where I challenge the patrons and staff members to play some of their longest outstanding stories and campaigns. Joining me once again is somebody who is just smashing their way through all these campaigns, probably helped by the fact that most of them are little arcade games, but let's move on from that. It's GT3 Option Fan.
Hello. I like that backhanded compliment there, so I appreciate that.
No, it's all compliment. It's a full palms up, ready to high five compliment. No, I love these little arcade games, and I'm looking at people's old collections, and for a lot of us, those collections date back to the mid to late noughties, which sounds crazy to say, and the kind of flavor of the week then was an XBLA title released every week, or one or two, and we played a lot of them, and we didn't finish a lot of them. So it only makes sense that these ones keep turning up in people's collections.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, you're back again with 2 more stories. I say stories in the very loosest possible sense. Campaigns, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
The first game we're going to talk about is what?
Brains. Plants vs. Zombies.
the plants and the zombies. The very first time they battled, I think it's considered a bit of a classic of the day, along with, Angry Birds and things like that. People were playing it on their phones a lot, or on the consoles. It has since obviously morphed into something quite different with the now 3D shooter games that they are now. Do they even include on those games like an old school Plants vs Zombie mode? Does anyone make Plants vs Zombie games anymore in the old fashioned?
I'm sure you could get it on your phone, maybe. There's probably a mobile version,
but they don't make new ones, right? They've completely pivoted. Anyway, first released on Xbox September 2010, first played by yourself November 2010, so quite close to release. Do you remember if it's a game you were particularly looking forward to trying at the time?
I have no idea. I don't remember actually playing it on any other, I didn't have it on computer, mobile device or anything. So my guess is I just saw it as, maybe it was promoted in the store or something. Maybe it was fairly cheap and picked it up. Yeah. So it was just one of those things that I picked up relatively close to when it came out. But 2010 was, like I said before, is kind of my first year of Xbox. So I didn't have too many games, and so I was looking for, whatever was coming out at the time.
Well, you unlocked 3 achievements over the course of 2 days back in November, and as we've already mentioned with Xbox Live Arcade games, it's kind of hard to gauge how much time you actually put into the game because achievements are few and far between. There's only 12 of them, but apart from those 3, it looks like the game remained then untouched for pretty much coming up to 13 years. Do you recall how much time you put into the game back in the day? Have you come back to it since?
Yeah, I think it was one of those things that I'd pick it up every now and then, once or twice a year sort of thing, just come and play the odd level or two. And, it's just kind of casually playing it, no walkthroughs or guides or anything like that. And I think most likely the reason I stalled out is probably just because I would get a more difficult level, and if I failed or something, I'd probably just be like, oh, okay, I'll move on to something else, just because I was very casually playing it at the time. And I think when I was, if I remember correctly, I was somewhere in there's 5 worlds or 5, I forget what they call them, but they're 5 sets of stages, right? And so I was somewhere in the latter half of 3. So somewhere around the middle of the game is where I picked it up when I started doing it again for the story completion.
Right, which you then, according to the achievements, managed to get on the 25th of April. So, campaign complete. Is it a big campaign? Like you said, there's 5 stages.
Yeah, so there's 10 levels in each stage. So there's 50 stages total, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Maybe less than that, but basically between each stage, the kind of core mechanics kind of change. They introduce different zombies with each level. Okay, you get, at the end of this level, you're going to get a new type of plant to combat this zombie with, and then at between stages, you'll have new types of zombies that you'll have to use your new plants against. But you only have a certain amount of plants that you can bring into the stages, and so you have to kind of be strategic in which are your absolutely go-to plants that you need to use, and if you don't pick the right mixture, it's probably going to end poorly for you, because several times, I'd reach the last part of a level, and then there'd be some new type of zombie that would overpower my flowers just because I didn't have the right plant to face against that particular type of zombie.
Is it random, the zombies you get on each level?
No, it's pretty consistent, I would say, as far as it's scripted, as far as what zombies happen, where they show up. There's 6 different lanes you have to, 6, maybe 8, I don't know. But there's all these lanes that you have to protect, and where the zombies show up is random. usually you kind of have a good sense about like, okay, midway through the level, you're going to get a big wave of zombies, and 75% of the way through the level, you're going to get another big wave of zombies. And so really the core mechanic that you kind of figure out is you build essentially like 2 rows of sunflowers. Well, during the daytime, there's some nighttime levels, so you have to switch up your tactics on those. But you usually build like 2 rows of sunflowers, and you start building your defenses until you almost fill up the screen with all your defenses. And then it's just crazy the amount of things happening on screen at one time at that point, at the end of the level.
Is it difficult? Like, once you kind of got the tactics, do you kind of just know what you're doing, or is it actually quite tricky?
You have to understand the tactic that you have to switch up to for that level. So what I mean by that is, you can't just use the same tactics from stage 3 through stage 5. You kind of have to learn, okay, now I need to stop using this same plant that I've always used, and I have to use something different. Okay, there's these people who have ladders. Okay, so to get rid of these guys, I have to use a magnet plant. Things like that. So it's not overly difficult, and especially I might have watched some videos while I was going for this story completion. That it's like, if you watch the video, you've got it,
But you can pretty much just copy what they do.
Oh, for sure.
You'll probably be fine.
Oh, for sure. You get the setup down. Usually you can scrub to about 3/4 of the way through the video, and you can see, okay, here's their setup. I'm just going to copy, build my sunflowers first, get a row of sunflowers, get some defenses in front of that. You just kind of build rows of defenses until you get to the, you build out the full thing.
And you also don't have to be perfect, right? So you can complete the levels, and from an achievement perspective, do you get like ratings and stuff, or?
No, you really don't get ratings, at least in the campaign mode. I'm looking through. There is a mode where you have to do more of a horde mode, where you have to survive a certain amount of waves.
As long as you actually just complete the level,
Right.
even if you're like on the verge of dying, doesn't matter, you
Right.
made it.
Right,
and
right.
you can just kind of move on.
And so
Okay.
typically, if one zombie gets to the end of a row, you usually have a last line of defense there, where it's, depending on the level, it's either like a lawnmower, or if it's in the water, there's like a pool vacuum, or something else for the roof level. But there's usually like that last line of defense, where if someone gets one zombie gets to that level, it just kind of mows through and kills all the zombies on that row. So you kind of have a little bit of protection there, but if someone else gets there, then you're done for.
Well, you completed the campaign. You got 5 out of 12 achievements for 75 whole gamer score. What you're left with looks like kind of a bit of miscellaneous stuff, and then I guess is the horde mode, surviving 40 waves. It looks like some of it's hard to really tell. Most of it has been done by about, I guess, 15 to 20% of players, 30% of players. So they look kind of doable. The horde mode is definitely the hardest looking one.
Right.
It's only been completed by 7%. Do you have any plans to knock any of this stuff out?
Sure. I definitely enjoy the gameplay in this game, and while some of those are more challenging, they're definitely not the Prince of Persia classic or the Explosion Man level of just knocking your head against the wall kind of difficult challenges. So yeah, I'd definitely go back and finish this off at some point.
Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to do it myself a little bit, because I remember way back when this was kind of popular at the time. I didn't ever play it on Xbox, but I did play it on my iPad mainly. And then I did do the mobile version, the Windows Phone version, but I never completed it before that went down. I do enjoy the gameplay, so it's the kind of thing that kind of sometimes I'm looking in my collection, I'm thinking, yeah, I kind of fancy that, but I don't know, is it kind of dated now maybe?
It's not a new shiny object to grab your attention.
It isn't, but it's also kind of a classic in its own way.
Oh yeah.
But anyway, well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Campaign complete. Story complete. Was the story did it have a good ending?
It's
Did it resolve itself nicely?
There's a lot of funny bits of humor that happen in the game, and there's a song that happens at the end.
Yeah, I seem to remember.
It's enjoyable. It's they put you can tell they put a lot of effort into that song at the end. That you're like, okay, you want to sit and watch through the whole thing because it's fun.
Yeah, I think that's kind of why it was popular as well, because it wasn't just like any other mobile game or kind of throwaway game. It felt like they'd put effort in. It's got a kind of a fun art style. It's cartoony. It's silly. I remember there being like disco zombies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think that's what kind of made it successful as well. Is it was kind of the kind of basic game. The core mechanic is fine enough, but then it's kind of elevated by the fun silliness and that kind of stuff.
For sure.
Now, moving on, we're going to do 2-in-1 on this one. Another Xbox Live Arcade title. This one a little bit more, I guess, narrative based. Something a bit more to get our teeth into on the story, kind of. What have you got next?
Moving on to Outland, the platformer Metroidvania Xbox Live Arcade title. The core mechanic of the game is that you kind of switch between red and blue, or what they would say light and dark energies. And when you're the same color as these orbs, so there will be like different orbs, or blue orbs and red orbs that are kind of floating around in the level. And when you're the same color as that orb, it doesn't hurt you, but when you are a different color, it does. But it kind of flips when you're fighting enemies, and you want to be the opposite color of whatever enemy you're fighting. So you're kind of constantly having to keep track of, okay, when to switch. It's got that platformer Metroidvania aspect to it, but there's a lot of timing elements that have to happen with it too. Because there will be times where the whole screen just gets filled up with red and blue particles, and you just have to figure out, okay, you kind of have to sort through the visual noise, I guess you would say, and just kind of keep track of like, okay, I need to be in this kind of section while I'm blue, and then I need to move over here and turn into red. Yeah, that's kind of the core mechanic of Outland, kind of what makes it a little bit different. I started it back in June of 2011.
Yeah, only a couple of months after it. Well, a month basically after it released. So, was it something you? Well, again, do you remember if it was something you were looking forward to, or
it would not have been something that I would have known about, I guess, ahead of time. Again, it was probably one of those things where I was just on the Xbox marketplace and just searching for, hey, what's a new game to pick up or whatnot. Maybe I might have looked at the Metacritic score or something at the time, picked up something based off of that.
Yeah, because I think it was quite warmly received. I seem to remember people saying it was decent, not like mind blowing, but for an arcade title, it had decent reviews, decent production value. I think it was well received.
84 on Metacritic, which is pretty good.
Definitely. Yeah, so you made a start on it in June. Only got 2 achievements, although one of those is for collecting 10 Marks of the God, which I think does require getting quite far into the game. Do you recall how far you got into at that point?
Looking at my achievements here, I can see that kind of bridge, that gap between where I started it for the story completion challenge. And so I was essentially probably at the 3rd boss is where I kind of got hung up on.
Yeah, so quite far in.
There's probably 5 bosses in the game, so I was a little over halfway, I think.
Yeah, and so I played this beginning to end last year, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked the general vibe, and the kind of core mechanic was interesting. Not great if you're colorblind. It was kind of interesting, but and it wasn't too long, so it didn't stay outside. It was welcome. But the bit I struggled with the most was the boss fights, especially because it becomes like this, like you say, this kind of bullet hell kind of thing, where there's just loads and loads and loads of things, and you just got to keep switching the colors to try and avoid them. And
do you remember which boss that you struggled with the most?
Every single one of them. I'm not great at this kind of thing in general, and I'm not a skilled gamer. So I tend to panic and choke when it comes to stuff that requires, precise timing and combinations of button presses, or specific jumping, or like precise shooting. Maybe I have it in me to do it, but then leading up to it, I'm like, I can't do this. and then I choke basically and do something stupid. And I do that again and again and again and again until I brute force it and then eventually succeed or give up. This game I did struggle with on those bosses, but I did. So I was kind of interested when you said you kind of got to one of the bosses originally, and that may have been a sticking point. Which one was that then?
The spider boss. That one.
Yes.
That one was particularly
the worst thing about that is you don't start in the boss room. As far as I recall, from 6 months ago. No. Well, almost a year ago now, actually. You have to replay a whole big section of the game leading up to the spider. It's in multiple stages.
Multiple stages, yep.
And then if you get to that last stage and you screw it up, it's quite a long lead up, and that I can imagine that getting frustrating and being very easy to put down unless you have a motivation to push through.
And I think also too, I'd said it. I did come back to it a few times, I remember, but because it was a rather difficult spot to play it at, and having time between playing it, I kind of forgotten some of the core mechanics, and so I'm trying to like relearn the mechanics, but also playing it at this rather difficult spot in the game.
Yeah.
So what I actually ended up doing, I don't know when exactly I did that. Maybe it was when I started the story contest, was I actually went back to the very beginning of the game just to like kind of reorient myself with like the core mechanics. And then once I got comfortable enough, I was like, okay, I'm going to switch back over to my other save and play it from where I left off at. And that seemed to help kind of ease into that again. It's
an interesting thing with these kind of going back to the backlog kind of contests and things like that, because that's a dilemma you face is like I bean dive games a lot. So often if I go back to a game I've bean dove, I will just start it again.
Right.
Because I'm like, well, it was only like 5 or 10 minutes,
right?
Whatever. I'll take the hit because I'd rather not have to recall. But if you're like halfway through or more, it's like, I don't want to restart because that's a lot of time lost. But also I have no clue what I'm doing, how this works, what's going on. So like you have to kind of cog yourself back into that or make a decision to start fresh, depending on the game, I guess.
Right.
But you did it. You pushed through.
Yeah, and I really did enjoy it. As I kind of got past that, for me, what was kind of a difficulty spike in the game, and then once I got through that, I really got to where the dragon boss. He took a few attempts, but I kind of was in the groove at that point, and didn't find it as frustrating. I had the motivation to push through. I think that's a key thing with a bunch of these old games that are on my tag, is just really having the motivation to push through and not just to put it down for something else at the time.
Yeah, 100% that. I'm going back to these Sonic games at the moment, and previously having given up on them very quickly multiple times, I'm like really psyching myself to push through them, and it's worth it. It's worth it when you get to the end. And then you go, did it finally. Good. Yeah, so you pushed through. So you did between kind of mid-February and end of April. You kind of spread it out a little bit, I guess, amongst other things.
They were, to be honest, I think February and March, it was in my random to-do list. And at the time, it was I just had a standard list. So I knew, like, okay, I need to go specifically for these achievements. And, they were kind of miscellaneous achievements that I could knock out. And then in April, I said, okay, I'm going to make the full push to get it done. And that's when it happened.
Nice. Nicely done. And from a story perspective, the narrative is not very. It's all kind of loosey-goosey, mystical, nonsense, really, isn't it?
It's a very generic kind of. Really, the plot is just a very skeletal excuse for the mechanics of the game.
Yes,
in the gameplay.
Yeah,
I think you play as a warrior, and things are happening to the world, and you're having to like go try to restore the balance between light and dark. So that's the whole mechanic, is light and dark. And then at the end, the boss, has light and dark that you're trying to help bring that into balance, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, there's a reason you probably don't remember too much of it. There's a few, like between each boss, there's like a little text slide that says they say something about the boss and about how each boss was like once a creature that was like in balance or doing things well, and then the darkness kind of corrupted them, and that's why you had to face this corrupted being. But again, it's nothing. It's a very, very short story if you were to make it a book.
And it's all kind of this fake mystical nonsense,
right?
But it serves the game, and it serves the mechanics, and it doesn't get in the way of the game too much, so that's fine. So you have been left with 9 achievements out of 12. Again, this is an early XBLA game, so only 12 achievements, only 200 game score, of which you have 115, so over half. What you're left with is 3 achievements, and one of them is for defeating a boss without taking any damage, which sounds tricky, but if you go back and face that first initial boss, it's actually very, very doable.
Right.
I think it took me a few attempts still because, like I say, I suck. But actually the pattern on that first one is very, very predictable, and it's not bullet hell-y like the other ones.
Right.
So, you just... Basically, I think you let him attack you, you jump over his sword, hit him.
The hardest part is the rainfall that happens.
Yes, but I think it's fairly once you see where the gaps are, I think you can kind of predict where to go, and it's not too bad. It just takes a few, takes a few goes, and then you're done. So that one's doable, I think. The other one is the collectibles. Did you try and do them as you went along? Obviously, it's a Metroidvania, so there's a lot of backtracking involved. Yeah. If you want to get all of them with the abilities that you unlock.
I did not necessarily prioritize getting those along the way, but being a Metroidvania, and that you kind of, there's not really necessarily a point of no return. As when you start out at the end of the game, you're like right before the final boss, and you can teleport anywhere and backtrack anywhere. So I definitely see myself going back and cleaning those up at some point.
Yeah, and it is very easy. Like once you've got all your abilities, it's just a case of going back, and I think there's a few challenge kind of room type things that you have to do, and there's maybe 1 or 2 trickier ones, but nothing harder than the main game. It's not like there's an extra challenge to getting them. And then the final one is a really stupid, pain in the bum, unnecessary grind. It's a precursor to all of those Windows Phone games that had completely stupid grinds and stuff like, obviously, like Seriously came out with there's like a currency within the game, and when you kill enemies, they drop this currency, doubloons, and you can collect it and use it. And throughout the entire course of the game, do you recall how much you've earned?
I think somewhere around 300,000, maybe.
300,000, and that's playing like the whole game.
Yeah, 350 maybe. Yeah.
And even if you went back to get all those extra collectibles, you're not going to get much more naturally than that.
Right.
But this achievement asks you to get 1 million. And it's completely pointless because you've got everything you need out of the game from what, 300,000?
Yeah.
So it is a completely redundant and pointless grind. It just makes no sense. It's one of these things where you just think, why? There is no value you're getting out of the game
Right.
doing this, and the only way to do it is by basically exploiting a certain area of the map where you can just, for a few hours, I think it was, keep repeating the same section, kill a bunch of dudes, get to a checkpoint, die, reload, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. And it's painful and boring and tedious and stupid. And it's one of these things that kind of erodes your enjoyment of the game. Because you spend 5 or 6 hours on the game and have finished it all up and it's great. And then you've got another few hours of needless grinding on top of that.
That's the point of the game that I would call commitment remorse, where you've enjoyed the game, you enjoyed what you got out of it, but you're committed to, okay, I have one achievement left, I need to complete this and get the completion, and you just have commitment remorse because you're not enjoying your last several hours of playing that game.
Yeah, I think it's literally about 2 or 3 hours just doing that same thing again and again. And I think I spread it out over a few days, half an hour a day basically of doing that. And, doing it that way, it's perfectly doable. It's just like you kind of resent it, right? It's not fun. Do you think you're going to do it?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Get that completion.
I'm not against grindy. It's the stupidly difficult ones that I tend to avoid.
It's a perfect opportunity to listen to some good podcasts.
There's a podcast?
You're on it.
Oh.
Okay, so Outland, another one bites the dust, 2 more knocked out. It's been a pleasure talking to you, GT3 Option fan, and thank you for completing 2 more of your never-ending stories.
Thanks, Chewie.